Jonathan Mickles with the Strategic Multifamily Investing Podcast, and I have with me Mr. Ken Singh. How you doing, Ken?
How are you, Jonathan? Hi, everyone out there.
So, listen, Patrick and your team reached out to me and said, we want to make sure that Ken is on your podcast. And I said, well, we're pretty much multifamily directed, even though we have had some single family people, right, in the past. Why is it important? And we've had such a robust conversation already. I'd like to make sure that we hear a little bit more about who you are, the man behind the app, before we actually talk about the app. Obviously, FlippBidd is the name of the application. So, were you a real estate guy? Were you a technology guy? Were you both? How did it all come about? Where did you start?
Yeah, so let's share that story. First and foremost, thank you for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And I know my team's very happy about it as well. Really, my journey started right out of college, and real estate was not my first found love, to be honest with you. And neither was my career, to be honest with you. And that's kind of where we crossed paths. Right out of college, came out, got involved with a software company just like any young man does. It was a customer support position. I had big city living dreams with not such a big city paycheck. So we had, this we did the thing with the multiple roommates, and but my career grew. As a lot of people's does over the years, it grew into other software and technology companies like TIPCO, and then evolved to like PropTech, a little bit of fintech, but mostly PropTech. Some of those companies you may know, like Yardi and Comstack and so on. But I really got involved with real estate, Jonathan, a couple of years after the market crash. I found myself jobless. I was working for TIPCO at the time. It was a predictive analytics solutions company, and I was selling software to the investment banks out there. So, as you know, what happened with the financial debacle back then, that a lot of banks were going belly up. So one of my clients was Lehman Brothers, and we know what happened with them. Filing for Chapter 11 is not the easiest pill to swallow when you're asking them for a $250,000 software budget. They're probably going to say no, thank you. I'm not sure if you're watching the news. So they did decide to downsize the company. We lost a lot of our clients, and I found myself looking for positions and interviewing. And a buddy of mine comes along and says, "Hey, Ken, I know you're really good with consumer-facing positions. I just opened up a small firm trying to help families with loan modifications." That was my first touch with the real estate market.
We share in that. I worked for Land America Lender Services.
Okay.
We had just acquired at that time a company out of Baltimore called MSTD, and the application that we sold was called Back in the Black to banks, specifically to talk about loss mitigation. So the entire thing from 30 days delinquent all the way to foreclosures, et cetera, and REO. So I get the loan modification piece. Go for
That's right. So I ended up finding myself just making outbound calls. I had to make the my ends meet. Obviously I had to pay the bills, and I was doing pretty well, but I really got acclimated with the whole loss mitigation process with banks and how they can assist with families. It taught me a lot. It was information and knowledge I wouldn't have learned in college or anything else, and so it was kind of like the universe kind of threw me into what I needed to do. Right. And that's kind of like where the magic happens, right? Sometimes you're not in control. Sometimes the universe isn't in control, and it kind of puts you right where you need to be. And after that, my network started growing. A lot of people realized that I was helping, communities, and I was helping, homeowners get out of distressed properties. And then along come the investors, and along come the short sale agents, along come the REO brokers, and the network just grew and expanded and expanded. And I did end up going back into software, but on the back end, like it was almost like I'm moonlighting as a real estate investor slash what they call now bird dogs, right? Finding people deals, right? I didn't know there was even a name for it. But I had that network, and they said, "Ken, listen, I know. Do you have anybody that has good deals, this, that?" And I did. I had a lot of deals, right? And because my network was big, but meanwhile, these individuals were collecting a massive amount of commissions, fixing and flipping properties. They were giving us $3,000 to $5,000, not knowing how much money they were making. I was, pretty naive back then. But then I had the aha moment. The light bulb went off, and one day I decided, you know what? I'm getting sick of doing transactional business. I want to build technology and utilize my skill set and kind of create almost like an ecosystem for the housing market to be have everybody communicate together and then monetize on that somehow without affecting their bottom line. So that's kind of where the idea developed and evolved from.
Okay. So then your background, if you will, going back to when you came out of school, were you a comp sci or um, you said your background in development, were you a developer or you just did?
It was, yeah, great question. So I was not a developer. I always had the gift of gab. I was very much an extrovert, so I kind of fit into the consumer facing role.
Yeah.
I was front office, business development, account management, account executive. I was going after, some pretty big companies back then. I mean, if I have to give away my age, I was 20 years old selling retirement solutions to Solomon Smith Barney. That's how back we go. Okay, so that gives away my age.
That's a long time ago. I got you. So
Thank
but it's cool. So FlippBidd is the name of the product that you came up with. Is it a mobile app? Is it a website? What is it? What is it?
So over years, it has evolved. It, in fact, is an application right now. It's live on App Store. It's live on Google Play. And we have all intentions of launching the web app. We kind of reverse engineered the process a little bit. We found out to develop an app and get the DNB number and get approved by App Store is a very difficult feat. I didn't realize it took me almost a year and a half to get approved with my second iteration of the application. It took a long time, but you know what? If we got the hard part done, it's kind of like when, how I used to look at it, like in regards to schoolwork when I was a kid. I
Mhm.
wanted to go ahead and get the hard homework done fast. So this way I could just fly through the rest, right?
Right.
So now that the hard work is done, and of course, work is never done. It's software, it's constantly evolving. But I think we got the harder part out of the way, and soon we'll have the web app available shortly by the end of the year.
So it's a mobile first application that does what exactly?
Sure. So FlippBid is actually in a real estate investment networking and data application. It actually is an application that applies to everyone that's within the real estate investment industry, whether you are an investor, whether you're a wholesaler, whether you're an agent, a broker, a savvy investor doing hundreds of deals a year, to the newbie or the average Jane and John Doe that's looking to get involved in their first real estate investment project. It applies. And the unique concept, which makes our application differ from the rest of the tech, the world out there, is that we have created and I believe pioneered a application that is truly a crowdsourced community based model, which means that we don't power the application. You out there power the application, and the more people utilize the application, the bigger our community gets, the stronger it gets. So if you could imagine, a drop of water in glass may not quench your thirst, right? Because it's just a drop. But if it rains and over a period of time, or you're letting the water run from the faucet, right? You're gonna have a full cup of water, and that's gonna be able to quench a lot of people's thirst, right? So if one person can upload a property, which I do, we get a lot of properties, and I notify a lot of people that I get deals. I might get a few bites, but if everybody comes in as a collaborative effort to upload their off-market deals, and the other investors come in to view their deals. Well, we just create a platform and a marketplace for everybody to communicate directly without us affecting your bottom line, because we do not charge points, we do not charge commissions, and we do not charge fees. It's a subscription based model at a very low price point.
Got it. So what we're talking about is that this is kind of a wholesaling app, or You mentioned off-market deals. Is that primarily everything that's on there? Because you mentioned agents, and so agents generally deal with properties that are on the market. So what is it? Just properties that are for sale? Give me a little bit more information. Is this an education back type product, or what is it that you're looking for someone, your ideal, I guess, candidate or customer would be?
Yeah, so an ideal candidate or our target demographic for the application is anyone that gets involved in real estate investments that are off market and private deals. So we don't compete with the Zillows, the Trulias, the Redfins, right? We don't compare or compete with anybody that's dealing with listed properties. So if you have a deal that you may, like, for example, a wholesaler has cut a deal with a homeowner, right? And has received that contract for assignment, which is usually a signable contract, and they would like to put it out there, well, then FlippBidd would be the application for you. If you are the savvy investor that takes advantage of auction houses and wins bids on properties, but you don't hold on to them, you decide to assign those contracts. What do? Do you post them on Zillow? No, you don't post them on Zillow. You post them on FlippBidd. And guess what? Realtors, brokers, and everybody in between, Jonathan, also have networks. They sometimes do get deals that are not listed. And therefore, there is a place for you, simply put.
Got it. So we're not advocating pocket listings, but just in case, we know that there things
Right.
exist. We'll put it like
Well,
that.
well, that's all right, and that's right. And in regards to sale types, like it's not just wholesale deals; it's assignment of contracts, REOs, short sales, subject to deals, which are huge now, and everything in notes even, right? And you can upload notes, right? You're not going to upload a note into Zillow or Trulia or Redfin. It just doesn't happen,
Gotcha.
right? But
So
there are buyers for those.
so you mentioned that your sub deals are really big now. Why are they growing? Why is it big right now? Is that something?
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, the market's in quite an influx. So I do a lot of research and I understand that, we were just speaking about this, that, Florida has a substantial amount of deals, right? So does, now looks like Phoenix is catching up, Dallas and so on. And I knew from the COVID era days that these were inflated prices. People didn't have to work from their, respective jobs and they could work remotely. Instead, they said, and I know here in New York, I mean, listen, if you could find an apartment for less than $4,000, that's a 1.5 bedroom. You consider yourself lucky. We're having a shortage of apartments, right? Far less someone paying $5,000-6,000 for a small family when they can go buy a home and pay a mortgage for $2,500, right? So what was happening over time, and as everybody knows, these prices were being inflated. I mean, think about what's happening in the multifamily realm and CRE with low maturity. So I mean, now, yeah, we could see substantial amount of deals in Florida, and I'm not beating up on you, Florida, by the way, if you're listening. Um, you guys had to do what you had to do, but you had your day in the sun. No pun intended. Um, it drove up the prices, but now people realize that they're not even scratching the surface when it comes to their principal because now they owe more than their property's value. They're underwater. So what do? You try to either cut your losses and leave, or you try to get creative, right? And I think creative financing's starting to play a major role. And I think the way they're leveraging subject to, if that's what we were still sticking to, is
Mhm.
really those COVID era interest rates, right? Which we'll never get again.
Right.
So
So your twos and threes and 4% interest rates, we're not going to see that anytime soon. And as we're speaking today, I think the average is about almost 7%, right? Six and a quarter, six and three quarters, or 7%, right?
yeah, it's about 7, 7 and a quarter.
Okay, seven and a quarter. So you're not going to see those big things. So if you have somebody who has a property that is at 3%, and they're paying, if you will, below market rents or mortgage rates, trying to buy that same property at the 7 or 8% interest rate is going to be much higher. So getting getting that property subject to the existing financing is the way to go. And so a lot of those deals are popping up. Excellent. So do you have an education component to the application? Because somebody said I'm always interested in, it's by the time this is airs, we're in December. People are thinking New Year. How do I get involved? I've heard, real estate is a good way to get involved. Does this provide me some education, or is this just a marketing engine for me to be able to just put stuff on once I get it? Or what are your thoughts?
Well, there's a couple of thoughts behind that. So number one, yes, there is a training component to this. We have a seamless integration under the your profile on the app through support. You could join our weekly Calendly, we do every Wednesday. Okay. And it's an open invite Calendly, and you just book a seat. Okay. And we can go ahead and go through the demo and show you best practices and show you how to use it. More so than that, the last Wednesday of every month, we have an open mic night, a FlippBidd open mic night. I always like to joke, I say it was 2 drink minimum, right? So, open mic night, and come as you are, it doesn't matter, t-shirt, shorts, hat, whatever it is. And that part, I think, is more so important than me training or teaching everyone how to utilize the application. This is where everyone gets to meet everybody else in the community and see how they're utilizing the application. So they learn from each other, where they're located, how they would like to utilize, what they would like to see in the application. And the third part to this is we are now starting co-sponsor opportunities with
Wow.
some major players in the industry. Some we mentioned right before we went live, that are specialists in the short sales realm, that are specialists in the wholesaling realm. They are specialists on how to get these LLCs and corporate docs structured for your deal, and everybody in between, right? How to utilize your resources. And they're coming in and banding together as a true, as I said, true community-based application. And these individuals, you can connect with them right through the app, because we are providing an open-ended source for a quick ad to have them present their specialty, their secret sauce, and exactly how they can help our community.
Excellent. So it seems like you've got the bee's knees now. Right now, the property or this app is directed towards single family, and here we're strategic multifamily investing. Podcasts. Are there any plans for moving the app or adding on the multifamily thing?
Yeah, so great question, Jonathan. We don't have to change our business model. The business model remains the same. If I click on a single family property today and pull the data or find it's for sale, we just have to click on now a retail, office, industrial, or warehouse space anywhere in the United States. The only difference is we have to just connect different data providers and aggregators for that particular type of asset. The business model remains the same. It's open communication, open connections. We're empowering you with all the features and functionality and all the data with a click of a button or pressing your thumb down, which we could probably show if you like. But we have all intentions of adding both land and commercial.
I think that this would be a good time to kind of see what the app looks like. So let me see if I can pivot here, give you access, and show us a little demo of what the product can actually do.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'll just take the driver's seat here, and here you go. So, if everybody can see my screen, I believe you have a visual. This is FlippBidd. It's live on App Store and Google Play. And as you can see, the first thing you notice is I'm just holding my phone in my hand. So while I'm demoing this, it's literally just me using my thumb and floating around the world, like as you see here. So that's all you really have to do from go to one market to another. You're not going to see a lot of properties. We did that on purpose. If you shut the app down, everything that you opened up closes. But as you move closer and closer to your respective markets, you'll start seeing properties upload as well as some verified investors. So that's our backyard here. But let's say you decided to go into Dallas, right? As an example, let's go to Dallas. You can put in Dallas, Texas. It'll navigate you to that respective area. And once you go into Dallas, all I'm doing is using my thumb to float around from city to city. As you can see, it's a really sleek, user interface. It's not too congested with features, too rich with features, but they're all sitting in the behind the scenes under your My Profile. We'll get into that in a second. But if you're a wholesaler and you want to connect with somebody that's in the Dallas market, as you see here, you can absolutely do so. All you would have to do is just basically find out who you want to connect with. Let's click on one of the IDs, and that is our friend Bryce McKinley, who has joined the application. And now, if I have a relationship with Bryce, we have a verified. He has a verified investor license. He's on our application. I'm a wholesaler. I like Bryce. I know Bryce buys. He's legit. I'm gonna hit the sell my deal button, and I'm gonna go ahead and sell my deal directly to him, where he's gonna get a text message, a phone notification, as well as an email in regards to the property, the picture, the comps, the ARVs, the price, and a voice note.
So, question, what is give me a little bit more information about what a verified investor is, because you said Bryce is a real person, because, one of the challenges is making sure that you find somebody who actually is buying. How do people become verified investors who may want to buy a property, or if you're a wholesaler, making sure that you have somebody who is real?
Great question. So we do have a vetting process. This account does not have it because I'm already a verified investor. But when you first open up the application, right in your profile, it'll tell you request a verified investor license. When you click on it, you go through a 4-step process. First step, your information, who you were referred by. Second step, what states you're interested in. Third step, what kind of ROIs you're looking for and what kind of asset types you're looking for. And the last step, basically, you could add your PO, a proof of funds, as well as corporate documentation, and it's a little bit of a marketing on the back end with our sponsorships. When you hit submit, our AI kicks in on the back end, asks you via text, "Hey, are you so and so? Is this you and so and so?" I'm sorry, we did miss a step. There's also a track record of 5 properties, so that you have to put in what your track record looks like over the last 1 year. So it'll go into a AI process via text. It'll ask you if you're available for the next 2 minutes, and just our AI on the back end will ask you certain questions. The last step that we have not done yet, because we just launched about a month and a half, 2 months ago, is literally a document will go out for signature saying that everything you stated and verified is true and accurate, and that you're not lying. And if we do find out that it was just, if you were doing something underhanded or you were lying, that we could cancel your subscription for any reason whatsoever.
Got a question. So, if I happen to have a list of people who I believe are verified buyers, can I submit those, or how do I get them over to you, or try to get them on the platform? My
I got a real quick answer for that, Jonathan. You're going to get a URL because hopefully you're going to become one of our affiliates and you're going to love this product for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Download the application, play around with it, and you decide, look, I love this thing and I want to share the love with everybody else in my community. You go ahead and start sending everybody to your link. They'll download the application. At least we know that they're coming from you. And obviously, we'll give them the same hospitality as we give the rest of our community. And once they start requesting that, their license will get activated within 24 hours.
Okay. So then they can be verified investors, and or they can just be there buying, selling, and being a part of the larger community overall. So then how do you track that? Is there a community room for Dallas, Texas, or is it just pretty much what we're seeing here? Is there some other groups that you've created within the app?
Well, it's not in the app. So we have a back end. We use First Promoter and CRM systems to put in buckets of who the users are, wholesalers, investors. But the whole idea behind this is we do not like look into specific roles, or we don't look into what your titles are. And I'll give you a perfect explanation. If I'm an investor and I go to an auction house and I win a bid, and then I decide to assign that contract, am I a buyer or am I a seller?
Got it. If you're at an auction house, you want it and you want to put it out there, you're now a seller. You're no longer a buyer because you bought the property, so you're ready to sell
But on the way out, I was a buyer, right?
it. Yeah.
That's why we don't distinguish people based on it's whatever hat you decide to wear when you open up the app. That's the answer.
Okay, I got you. So, question: can you show us what one property that may be being wholesaled or sold on the property looks like? I mean, what kind of details can we see?
Let's go. You want to go into New York? You want to go to Miami? You tell me.
In Miami, you said there's a lot of properties in Miami. What's going on in Florida?
Okay, so here you go. Downtown Miami, as you see some of these icons here. Some of these deals are mine, and I've uploaded because I get, oh, no, it is mine, but I know who I got this from, Matt. So if you click on the property, all the property details are there. You'll see all the property details with a ROI calculator here on the corner. And of course, this is my other account, by the way. So it's good that I'm using this because it's this easy to connect with the bus sellers. You just basically go through the information, you listen to the voice note. Two houses on the same lot, property in the front, property in the back, two different addresses, two different entrances. Connect with us on FlippBidd. Property brought to you by Wholesale Homes in Miami. So they get to hear that there's a person on the other side. Now I'm going to listen to the voice note. I'm going to go through the building square foot, lot square foot, year built. I'm going to look at the ARV high, average low. I'm going to get some comps out of it. Not too many on this one, but I got some comps. Mortgage data. I'm going to go through the foreclosure info. Obviously, David Munoz does not have a judgment. He's in good standings. There's no MLS history over the last year, so it's not on the market. But guess what? Now all I have to do is hit the call or the message button. If I call
Question
and
before you call. So then the ARV information that's below, is that coming? Is that what I input, or is that something that you've pulled from data that's in the area?
oh yeah, let me show you how quickly we could do that. So let's say, Jonathan, you're driving for dollars and you find a property, and I know you guys are multifamily CRE guys, but let's say something residential for now catches your eye. So guess what? We'll just say it's this property right here. All you do is just put your thumb on that property. It'll pin it, request the data. You could do this nationally. 3 bed, 1 bath, 5,000 square feet. Click on that. Here you go. All the property details are there. Building square foot, year built. It was that quick. And you could do that nationally. AVM, ARV high. Here's the comps. Here's the mortgage data. I know that impressed you because it was that fast. Here's the mortgage data for Federico and Jennifer, foreclosure information, and so on. TD Bank, okay, they got a loan with TD Bank, but guess what? Let's take it a step back. I didn't make a deal with Federico and Angela yet. I'm going to go to my profile because every time you visit a property on the application, right now, residential, by the end of the year, land and commercial as well, multifamily, you'll be able to do the same thing. It'll end up in your My Visits. From your My Visits page, here's the property, 320 North of 40th Street. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to click on skip trace, hit OK.
Okay.
I'm going to hit skip trace and just give it 1 second. Federico and Angela, it's been skip trace. I'm going to click on it. Here's the information. Now I can just make a phone call or email because we do collect both.
Now that's impressive. That's impressive.
And you don't even have to leave the application. There you go, just like that.
There you go. And now you can call. I'm sorry, you were saying you were going to call the on the other property. That's really good. And
Yes,
and for free you can do this, but to make calls um,
and email.
and emails. And I think you said that there is because there are different tiers of pricing. So there's a free version and a pro version. Tell me the difference between your free and your pro version, real quick.
So the only difference between the free and the pro version is if you decide to make it a habit and utilize this tool for a long term and decide to pull a bunch of data and do a lot of skip traces and make a lot of phone calls and view properties, it's going to tell you to upgrade to the pro version. That's the difference. And the pro version, I won't stop you. You have everything in here that I just showed you for the $99 price
Wow.
point.
Wow. That's amazing. So not only can we have all of the investors that are, yeah, here's a thought that I had for people who may be using this app in their area. If you already have an area that you're looking at or a zip code, and you go and look at the last 6 months and find everybody who did a cash deal, and then send them potentially a link, the link that we'll give you here as a part of this video. Now they can become verified investors in here automatically for the deals that you're going to go and knock doors for and drive for dollars for. Amazing.
That's That's exactly right. And the best part about it, and as we were trying to show earlier, you really don't have to leave your home to be able to connect with anybody or to find this deal. I mean, you just literally just click on and see what deal you like and just hit the chat or call button. This is one of my deals. I lost the one that we looked at previously, but if I go to my business, I bet you I could find it. But you could literally connect directly through the application. Here it is, and hit the chat button. There you go. I really like your deal, like this deal.
And this is going to text the individual.
Message me, just like WhatsApp.
Oh
And
my,
then they'll get a message, and then you'll get a message. And if they don't pick up, just hit the call button and dial out.
wow.
It's seamless.
Now that's impressive.
Now,
That,
for your listeners out there, imagine doing that with all the property owners that own retail, office, industrial, and warehousing. And
storage, multifamily, you to be able to get that same information because it's right now you're having to go to a bunch of list brokers or oh, what's the other one that everybody loves? CoStar, but and Reonomy. Those are two big ones that you can export data from, but they don't want you to export data. They want you to use that data. But
so
again,
CoStar was my competition. I used to, as I mentioned, I came from a software space. I worked for Comstack, Mike Mandel. Mike, if you're listening, how you doing, bud? I'm doing all right. And CoStar was my direct competitor. So, but unless if your users, Jonathan, have $300,000 a year to spend on CoStar data, you might want to try out Flip It for $99.
that part. Amazing. So you mentioned a little bit about your roadmap and that you went mobile first because you wanted to do the hard stuff initially, right? And you're ultimately going to go to a desktop application, but mobile is where you are right now. And where else are you going to? And you're going to incorporate land and multifamily by the time this is launched in December for 2025, this could be the ticket that gets you exactly where you need and where you want to go. But what else are you planning to do with the app? What is it that you ultimately want to create?
So there's a few features that we have our eyes set on, and because I work very closely with the development, and we don't have much red tape with legal, because again, it's my company. I don't have to really answer to anybody if I feel like building it. Like they say in the field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. And so I decide if I build it, they will come. And the features we're looking into right now is just as you saw on the screen earlier, the skip tracing feature. We're creating a distressed properties skip tracing feature. We can where it's going to go. It's available in about 30 days. It's almost done. So you'll be able to create a polygon shape filter around a specific map in a territory, and it'll pin all the distressed properties for all the owners that are behind on their payments with the taxes, and it will convert and save everything to your My Visits under Distress tab, and you'll be able to make the phone calls and emails right from there as well.
This is too. That's going to be very, very interesting. Because do you see that there will be more distress sales in the future?
There's going to be a ton of them, and I think we spoke about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
We feel like there is going to be a great reset that's happening within the real estate industry. I mean, just imagine what's happening with the interest rates and the inflation and the properties that are not coming down anytime soon. What I feel is going to happen is it's the bubble's going to burst, and there is going to be a lot of people underwater. Some areas will be saved because just where they're located, right? There's some areas that just keep growing in prices, and but there are areas that were inflated, right, artificially, right, because of COVID, and I feel like that's gonna set off a almost like a ripple effect to all of the properties that were purchased between, I would say, 2020 and 2023.
Yeah.
But even with that said, it's unfortunate. Hardships are real. That's something you can't avoid. People lose jobs. Really do have hardships in families, and sometimes they just need assistance from people that they can understand the business, that can actually help them get out of foreclosure. And that's another big reason why we're creating this community-based application and the co-sponsorship programs from a lot of some individuals, like I'd mentioned, like I'm going blank right now. Hold on.
Don't. I didn't know. I didn't know if you could say their names because they aren't.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably right. I'm probably not
I
just
just.
on the contract,
Yeah, I
so I
want to
want
make
to say,
sure that.
but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but let's just say there's some really really intelligent people out there that are coming together and they'll be able to help one way or another. So I think there's always going to be opportunity out there for foreclosures and pre-foreclosures and distressed properties. So that's why we're building this thing, right? It's
Got it.
more transparency and just better opportunity within our communities.
Excellent. Well, listen, this is you did impress me. I was thinking, I was like, okay, yeah, I've seen this, I've seen that. And so there were one or two things that did surprise me, and so I was pleasantly surprised and looking forward to your success. For those of you who are interested in, getting access to FlippBidd, we do have our own link, if you will, as we are, vying to be sponsored. So if you look at the bottom of this video, if you're on YouTube or whatever platform you're on, you'll be able to click it and join. Again, you can join for free and use it until it tells you to upgrade. And when you upgrade, you'll pay, the $99 at the time of this recording. If you go directly to the platform directly, you'll be spending a couple more hundred, a couple more dollars, maybe 26 or so more dollars if you go directly online. That's the reason why we have these things, and we're grateful for Patrick and for Ken for looking towards our podcast as being one that could be at the forefront. And again, today, again, is July, and so we're not there with the multifamily, but we will be by the end of the year. If people wanted to just reach out to you, Ken, and talk a little bit more with you and or FlippBidd, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, just it's a very easy email. It's let's network at flipbid.com. So just reach out to us. We'll send you out a Calendly, and then we'll get at it. That's it. Simple as that. We'll just, we'll speak openly like friends. So let's network at flipbid, two P's, two D's.com.
Excellent. And so we have a tradition here where the last word, if you will, we give people the boot. And so the boot is the one piece of advice that you would give to someone to do the next course of action, to do the next hard thing, as you mentioned before. What would that piece of advice be? Please give us the boot.
So I believe the boot is you're in an industry where if you don't take chances, somebody else will, and you're going to lose 100% of the opportunities that you don't follow through with or capture, right? So take a chance, but take an educated, smart chance, right? But take a chance. Don't sit back and don't let somebody else capture that opportunity before you.
There you go. Well, listen, Ken, again, thank you so much for giving us a sneak peek into FlippBidd and its future. We're looking forward to working with you, and looking forward. If there's anything else that we can do to help you as you're continuing to grow, please feel free to reach out.
Will do. I look forward to the next one when the multifamily gets launched. So thank you, Jonathan. Thanks everyone out there. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much, guys.
Absolutely.